Today is the second day of the emotional capacity, looking at your longings, and this time we want to walk through the chart again. You'll see similar answers and responses, but you'll understand them in the context of a pleasant event. So I changed pleasant event with legitimate pleasure, knowing that this is the route. You long for close relationships, you long for things to happen that are good. When the event is pleasant, it leads to legitimate pleasure. Whether it's wise or foolish, whether it'll end up being a destructive emotion or a constructive emotion, depends with your response. Let's take a pleasant event. This one will be a woman in the home, and for no identifiable reason, her husband surprises her one day with an especially sensitive gift, something she's wanted badly for a long time but has never made much of a fuss about it. So naturally, she feels good when he brings that home. Pleasant events generate pleasant emotions. Now, whether that pleasant event is going to work toward a constructive emotion will depend entirely on her understanding of her relationship between the event, her deep longings, which then are tied back either to God or to others, and how she might be working in her world. Wisdom declares this. Wisdom says legitimate longings for kind involvement from her husband are warmly satisfied by his thoughtfulness. But her core intactness, that is who she is inside of her soul, is about her essential womanhood, is already established in her relationship with God, so it will not be challenged by anything her husband ultimately does because of who she is, not based upon her husband's kindness or lack of kindness, but on who she is in rightly relating to God. Now, if she's rightly relating to God, then she's going to see herself as a deeply loved woman and valuable as an image bearer to God and his purposes in her life. Now, we've already discussed that from another end, so here we go. So if her understanding is wise, the event is regarded as a satisfaction of a perfect desire, perfect valid desire. She therefore is going to feel a warmth in that relationship. He gave me a gift, that's nice, I feel close to my husband, and I fervently desire a desire for change. She desires it. I hope this takes us to a continued level of intimacy and closeness and involvement from her husband as they move forward in their relationship. If the desire for him to continue to be like this is achieved, she will feel, again, gratitude. It's not that simple. I'm trying to keep this tied to the same lines of thinking because her husband has come through for her, but it wasn't all put on him, but she's going to feel gratitude with God because, God, thank you for a husband that's sensitive to my needs and actually went above and beyond what I didn't even expect, and so it's a wonderful thing. Oh, again, though, if it's blocked and he doesn't get her any more gifts and he just continues to be distant and not involved in her life, she's going to feel, again, a righteous anger, a blocked desire, a righteous anger. He goes back to his cloddish ways. He just doesn't even notice her. He doesn't go out of his way much. She ought to be angry. And a righteous anger would say, God, I'm going to use this for your purposes, and I'm going to display my anger that your purposes may be accomplished in my husband's life. Not to control him, not to demand things from him, but to work in his life in the way that would be there. If he goes on and off again, then I'm going to say, like, he's on sometimes and he's very involved other times. He turns the lights out when she comes home, and meaning that maybe she sets up a nice romantic dinner with candlelight and nice meal and everything. He comes home, flips on the lights, blows out the candles, says, "What's for dinner?" What is this guy doing? One minute he's off and one minute he's on. Again, uncertain, so therefore the response is going to be a productive concern, or she's going to be uncertain. So I even used a little different adjective, an unsettling concern. Where is my husband at in my relationship with him? I don't know. But she's rightly relating to God, so she's concerned about it. That's legitimate. All right? And then let's say he just never makes an effort again and he gives up. It's unreachable and he never comes back involved with her again. I would say, again, a productive sadness because he has pulled away for good from her. Okay, so that's kind of walking down quickly that avenue, but I wanted you to see it from a pleasant event. All right, let's take it from a foolish angle, where the rational belief system is not right. The rational images are not toward God, but they are just toward people coming through for her and what she has done. I wrote a little scenario here, so I'll just read this. What if the woman's operated for years on the premise that she is undesirable and unwanted? Maybe because of her relationship with her father, maybe because of how a person treated her, or a boyfriend treated her, or all her boyfriends treated her over time, and she begins to think, maybe I'm not wanted. Maybe she has defended against the pain of a father's rejection. Remember, again, not by saying my dad failed me or didn't love me like I wanted, but it's my fault somehow. So maybe she defended against that pain, and she concluded that she is worthy of rejection, and so maybe there's something she can do to try to get love from her father. And so it wasn't in terms of her dad's lack of love, but rather in terms of her own unloveliness, which is much less painful for her to work through. So she begins to think that through in her belief system. Maybe I can appear lovely, or at least hide my unloveliness. So she begins to hold on to that image of herself. I appear unlovely, or I don't really like myself, I'm unwanted. What I would say to you then is her structure is in place. I'm going to work to get this from people to make me feel wanted and loved. Given these internal dynamics, her husband's surprise gift is not going to be warmth. At some level, when it's an unexpected gift that you've worked so hard to get, it could be threatening. Threatening? Yeah. Why is my husband coming home with a gift for me? Is he trying to hide something? Is he seeing another woman? Because see, everything in her structure is like everything's built on that relationship with him. And when he does something out of ordinary that she hasn't earned or she hasn't made happen, that's scary to her. I hope you understand that, and that's important to get a hold of. She's receiving love for which she has not worked or earned. Now, understand this in longings. Unbought love is exactly what all of us want. We long for love, unconditional love that we did not earn. But that's scary to us because it's out of our control then. And even though she longs for it, it's terrifying to her because she can't find out a way to make it continue. It depends entirely on someone else. We are at their mercy, just like we're at the mercy of God for unconditional love. But he says, in fact, I love you unconditionally, whereas other people fail us. But if you build all of it on people, people will fail you with the concept of unconditional love. So with her image of being undesirable, it is likely that she'll begin to conceal her undesirability behind a barricade of good works at the hopes of winning affection that she craves. In a desperate effort to regain control of the situation, she may determine to become especially appealing in order to keep the gifts coming at all costs. Vulnerability must be avoided. Control for a person who is foolish is the key. Control. I'll control this situation. So, what could she possibly do in that situation? Well, she's going to earn kindness. He's given an unexpected gift she didn't earn, so she's going to become not a desire for change, but she's going to continue to demand that change by figuring out, how do I keep it coming? And so I put down, when the goal is achieved, she's going to have an insecure appreciation. An insecure appreciation. Her dependency on continued thoughtfulness from her husband nourishes her commitment to protect herself from the pain of no more gifts. She becomes extra good, doing whatever he wants or whatever might reach him, not to encourage him, but to control him and keep saying, you're wonderful, you're everything. And so her manipulative efforts are successful. She will feel insecure appreciation, but I want to also tie into that a little slash there. There'll be a sense of pride. Over here, grateful to God. Over here, pride. I pulled it off. I got this guy to keep coming to me. I've achieved that goal, to keep loving me, to keep treating me right, because I've earned it. I've been so good. I've been a wonderful wife. I've been a wonderful person to be in relationship with. And see, that can lead to pride. Well, let's say he does exactly what I said before. He comes home to a romantic dinner, flips off the lights, and says, "What's for dinner?" And doesn't even care. And she's worked so hard to earn it, and now he's not even appreciating that. Again, I would say a rage. How could you not appreciate everything I've done for you? Because everything's built on the relationship with him and not God. But let's say, again, it's uncertain and she's not sure what's going to happen. I'm going to say not an unsettling concern, but more of a pressure and anxiety. The pressure to keep trying to be the best wife, to do everything right, to earn that love. That's going to be pressure over time. What if it's unreachable, though? What if he pulls away forever, like we said in the other scenario? Then again, we could use the word depressingly inadequate. And I won't spell that all out, inadequate. So over here, productive sadness. My husband's pulled away, but I'm still going to pursue God. I'm still going to pursue him. I'm still going to know that my ultimate core of my intactness as a woman, I'm deeply loved by God. It's okay. I'll make it through this. I'll hurt. It'll be hard. I'll be sad. But how can I regroup and further God's purposes even in my pain? And then again, over here, when it's unreachable, here it's going to be, I'm a total failure. I'm unwanted, and I've tried so hard to get that love. What the woman's going to say is, I'm just not enough of a woman to be loved by the affection of my husband. Now, let me tell you something. When she's not rightly relating to God and she takes the foolish path, she's going to say something like this: perhaps another man could want me. And then she's ripe for an affair, because everything's built on a man wanting her and loving her. It's not on God. It's, I got to get a man to love me to feel good about myself. And then she makes all kinds of foolish decisions which lead to foolish emotions which break her heart down the road. That's her only hope, though, when she's not rightly relating to God, is I got to get a man to love me. As a pastor, I've seen that so many times. The Bible says a woman will wax cold on Christ for the love of a man. It's an amazing thing, isn't it? She'll give up on God just to get loved by a man, because what she's saying is, I want control. And I see it happen. They pull away from church, they pull away from ministry, and everything becomes about the man that maybe isn't pursuing God. Now, if the guy's pursuing God and she's got some issues in her own heart, she still has to deal with those before God. And so there you get an idea of kind of walking through this from a positive perspective. And so let me just say this in conclusion then, and I'll leave the emotion capacity. I'll probably do some things in our lab class to deepen this stuff, but at least for the ones that are just getting the lecture, let me say this. Emotions serve as a warning light, telling us to take a look inside, or as an indication that we're on track in our efforts to function as God designed us. So what you do is you look at your emotions, you honestly face them, and you say, it's like a warning light on a car. It goes off, and it's telling you something's wrong with the engine, or something's wrong with the oil level, or the check engine light. It tells you to take a look inside. Emotions are like that too. You feel them, you honestly face them, but they're telling you something's going on in your heart that needs to be looked at. Your thinking and your images and your longings and your goals. And you begin to think that through, and you begin to understand what's going on inside of you. So I'd say totally honestly face emotions. Use them to drive you to God. Use them to drive you to understand yourself. And you'll begin to use them in the right path.